Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
George, you said one of the biggest questions you get is, how much do I really need for retirement? Listen to this from Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. This was a little surprising.
You have to get to a place where you have $5 million in the bank, because you can survive the rest of your life no matter what happens, and your family. You can take care of a lot of people making 6 or 7% of $5 million. When you make that, you have to set that aside and you don't risk it. Then after that, you can start to take risk capital and put it to work.
Whew, George Politarhos, educate me. $5 million seems like a lot, or is it?
Yeah, right. My hair just stood up when I heard that thing. I got to be honest with you. Some of the things he said, I agree with. I don't think 5 million, folks. What you need in retirement is different for each and every one of us. But the thing he said in there, if you listen to that tape, he said, you have to get to this threshold and then you can afford to take some risk with other investments. And I kind of agree with that. Once we get to where we'd see what we need for retirement. How much do we need? Everyone's lifestyle is different, Mark. You might want to travel on a huge vacation 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. And I'm the kind of guy who wants to stay around my house in Delaware here and, enjoy my family and my pond and my dogs. So we all have a different view about what retirement looks like, how much money we're going to need to be able to do what we want to do and have the life that you and I both want for ourselves. I think it's important that you have to have safety involved there, and you need risk. Even when you're retired, you still need some risk. Not as much as you have when you're 40, but not nearly as much. We need safety. And that's what this is talking about. It's really funny. We have a number of customers that come in, and we have husbands and wives come in, and I love the couples that come in. I love everyone that comes in, but couples especially. And you see when they have a different view, a different point of view, how much they think they need, how much they have, what their goals are for the future. Mark, you and I have said before that a lot of times we act as marriage counselors almost. Mm-hmm. We're telling you, Jennifer, everything's okay. Mark, you got to jump, we got to pick things up here, but we got to stop spending so much. It's each individual case, and that's what makes it so important. Here's an idea. We have Valentine's Day coming up, and ladies, gentlemen, happy Valentine's Day to you on the 14th. Before we know it, it's going to be here in a few days. How about this? I talk all the time about how much I love my wife, how great of a person Leslie is, and we always want to make sure they're in the best place. And you've heard me say this before, Mark, that when couples come in, I love everybody. I really do. I worry about each and every person that comes in here. When you come in to meet myself, George Politarhos at Betraya Wealth, or you meet Angie, or you get a chance to meet Achilles, Jared, Ernie, the one thing you got to remember is that you're joining our big fat Greek family, because Betraya in Greek means family. So when we talk about this, and I worry about the family members coming in to meet with us and to start the planning process, to understand where they're going to be, where they're at, and how we can go forward. The one thing I'm always going to tell you, gentlemen, is that as a rule of thumb, if you are the same age as your wife, your partner, everything equal, she will outlive you 6 to 8 years roughly, statistically speaking, going forward. So that means 6 to 8 years, she will be by herself without you. And now we know as statistics are out there, 72% of women are either singled, widowed, or divorced in retirement. So how about this gift idea, gentlemen? Instead of getting her roses that are going to be dying in a couple days, or getting her chocolates that she's not going to eat, or going to dinner that we do all the time, how about taking the next step and doing the planning to have a better place for tomorrow for both of you, for that peace of mind? What a greatest gift I could think about to give Leslie than to know that when my time is here for me to go home, she is going to be okay. How about a great idea for my 2 sons, Jared and Alex, that knowing when dad passes, mom's okay.
Yeah.
Let's take that and let's use that for our Valentine's Day gift. Let's sit there and get the tax plan in place. Let's start planning for tomorrow. Let's start getting our dreams to become reality and know how we're going to go forward. When we talk to customers, we do expenses, right? Because we have to know what our expenses are. And it's always funny that we don't realize what women have, what we spend, women and gentlemen. We had customers come in last week, that Lori and Fred, and they've been in our conversations for the last 6 years. And it's funny that Fred's getting ready to retire in 2 years. His wife has been retired for a few years already. And we sat there and it's become reality. We've gone through and we're changing some allocations. We're moving money from 401k into safer annuities, safer money, and still keeping money in the market to invest and to make a profit, higher profits off of, because we have the proper mix. One of the best things we get is the tears from someone, I think, when I sit down with a customer and they're tears of happiness. Because Laurie sat there and said, I now realize that no matter what happens, we are okay. Mm-hmm. Those type of things to me are priceless, Mark. That to me is the way I show our love and affection and appreciation for Leslie, for your family, for your loved ones, that they're happy that they know everything's okay. And that's what this is about, planning for that, making sure that we're not going to run out of money, making sure that if something comes up, we need long-term care, I have it set aside. Laurie said, we like to travel. I know that doesn't have to change in a year. Oh my gosh, because we budget for that in our plans. Mm-hmm. We go over expenses. And I'm one of those, I guess, old-fashioned people. I still plan for date nights for my customers.
Nothing wrong with that.
And they're like, why would I do that? That's the best song. The husband says, why would I plan for a date night? I'm like, oh, good Lord, I have a good divorce attorney maybe at that statement, Bubba. But let's plan for that. That's my job, to look at the things you don't want to think about. Because we all need help. I get help every day from Jared and Alex about their mother. I'm sometimes oblivious to certain things, and I'm lucky I have the boys sit there and give me that that smack in the back of the head, so to speak. That's my job, but I want you to be right. And when Fred sat there and we got done, he's like, I never thought about the things you thought about. I love my wife, and now I know Laurie's going to be all right.
Always get more at PetraeaWealth.com. George, we're talking a lot about couples. What about for those that the reality of life? Divorce happens. Or if somebody's recently widowed, how complicated is it to readjust a portfolio, readjust a plan in those situations?
It's just getting it and taking it apart and making sure it's doing what we had, where we're going. It's not a difficult task for someone that does it every day. We work with a lot of widowed, divorced, and single women, helping them reallocate. And let's be realistic. There's also single men, divorced men, and widowed men that also have the same needs, wants, and desires. Leslie and I, just last night, were talking that, we take each other for granted sometimes. Of course, you're always there. I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. If Leslie wasn't there or something happened to Leslie, I would be completely and utterly lost.
Yeah.
And it's not a macho thing to say, I can handle anything. I couldn't handle anything without her. And most of us, I think, are relying on each other, even though we don't think about it. So when you lose that loved one, when you lose that spouse or partner, you need to come in and make sure, because things have changed. Maybe I was taking Social Security. We're both taking Social Security. One of them has gone away. How am I going to correct that? Because some of our fixed costs are still going to be the same. Maybe we have, a difference here. Well, how are we going to allocate? How are we going to rechange? How are we going to refocus? Or how are we going to get back on course? We're going to show you how that works. Because when you talk about Social Security, for example, there are so many opportunities, even with how bad of a situation it is currently, that we can maximize what you bring home for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm worried about you. I don't care about the government. I care about John. I care about Fred and Laurie. I care about us as individuals. Because you've worked hard, tremendously hard for 20, 30, 40 years. And you get to this stage when we have this event, a loss, a divorce, whatever the case may be, you need someone to sit there and to hold your hand and re-guide you to maximize, because you deserve to be in the best place possible. You've earned it over the years. Let us help you get back to where you are. Mark, you know my story about my mom and dad.
Yeah.
To see my mother in the position that she didn't have, anything, and not knowing where tomorrow was going to go. And if she didn't have 5 children that were able to help her, it's difficult. I don't want you to be that way. I don't want you to sit there and feel, and my father was never a failure. Never. They made mistakes. We always
all
say,
do.
Well, the last perfect person died over 2,000 years ago for us. So we all have made mistakes. And to think that you've done something terrible, that you're not worthy, you're not good, that's not the way anyone should ever live. should ever feel. And that's why we take care of it and we look at that. I've been where those people are. I've seen a woman that I cherish with all my heart be in a position where she made mistakes and how bad she felt.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen to our family members. We're going to make sure we put you in the right place. We're going to make sure that you are okay. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to take the time because you deserve the time, compassion, empathy, and love. And we're going to help you get to where you have to go. You have to pick up the phone and give us a call at 302-330-2166 or go onto our website, Patria Wealth, Patria Wealth.com. Let's schedule that no-cost, no-obligation meeting.
Hey, one thing we talked about earlier in the show, George Politarhos, there may be some pizza pies with anchovies on top at the Politarhos household. An Instacart poll revealed that the most hated food in America is, in fact, anchovies.
Undervalued, underappreciated.
Well, good, more for you then. But for the people that hate them, maybe not realize it's in a lot of flavoring, pasta sauces, Caesar dressing. A lot of people use anchovies a lot. But, I want to get back to what you do for the community because a lot of people, when you bring up the word annuity around them, they kind of have this negative connotation. But the reality is there's some great opportunities for guaranteed income with an annuity. Just like maybe those anchovies aren't so bad in that Caesar dressing. One annuity may be pretty good for your retirement portfolio.
It's really funny. People have this, like we just said, anchovies are bad. They've never eaten them or tried them, but they're bad because so-and-so told me they were bad.
I don't like the way they look.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the annuities because there's so many things that we have as annuities currently and we've had for the last 50 years we don't realize. Social Security is an annuity. If you're one of those few people that are blessed to have a pension through your employment, guess what, Mark? That's an annuity. So annuities are where we already are, but you just don't know enough about them. And there's different types of annuities, folks. It's not your father's annuity that you bought from the bank 30 years ago and he was dissatisfied. They've evolved, they've changed, and the amount of annuities that are purchased and sold every year has raised drastically since 2015 to the point where it's astronomical how much is done. And what does annuity? I think first here, Mark, we have to go over what the different types of annuities that are available for folks.
Okay.
Once again, this is always about educating people and getting the proper information because if you look on the internet, when we know everything on the internet is what, Mark?
True, 100% true. Always true.
You need the facts, not the talking points they have on there, which is not always the case. So with annuities, folks, when you talk about annuities, there's really 4 annuities that you should address. There's a variable annuity, fixed indexed annuity, a deferred annuity, and an immediate annuity. So the variable annuity, by definition, is variable. It can go up in value. It can go down in value. You can lose part of all of your investment at any given time, and it's volatile. Kind of like the stock market, kind of like your 401k if you think about it. You have an immediate annuity and a deferred annuity, and they're pretty much the same thing. They give you a guaranteed income, depending on when you turn it on, for life. Immediate means I turn it on the first 12 months, and they will give you X dollars for the rest of your and perhaps your spouse's life. Or a deferred annuity is 1 year to 10 years. You let it sit and grow at a scaled rate, and they can tell you in 10 years you will get X dollars per month for the rest of your life. And they fit a need sometimes. There's a place for them, depending on what our situation is. Because remember earlier we said you needed $5 million from Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank said that you need at least $5 million to retire comfortably.
So sometimes we need to use those income deferred and immediate annuities because we need a set number to hit our budget to give us what we need. And that has a place. You also have a fixed index annuity. And fixed index annuities are something that gives you accessibility to your money at all times. You have a growth, but the biggest part is I can never lose a cent of my money. So when we talk to you, we talk about things like having 3, 4, even 5 reliable, dependable, and sustainable avenues of income in retirement. So what's that mean? Well, today I'm working and I have a paycheck come in every week or every other week, me and if I'm married, my spouse or my partner. But when I retire, that money goes away. So I have to replace the income I had because I still need money in retirement, right, Mark? I still have things to spend.
Right. You still got bills to pay.
Right. So where's it going to come from? What bucket, what stream will I pull from? Well, if I have Social Security, that's great. That's going to come in. If I'm one of those few that happen to have a pension, that's fantastic. That's going to come in. Maybe I have savings, CDs and such, but you still need something to give you the safety net. Because I think at the end of the day, we still want to have that warm, cozy feeling of safety, of being okay against all events. And that's where annuities are going to come in, that safety net for the person at the circus that does the high wire walk and he's walking. Yeah. No matter how great he is or she is, they always have a safety net, don't they? And that's what we use the annuity for. And we still need to have some risk. That guy on that high wire still needs to be able to jump and turn around on the high wire and have that moment for the people in the crowd. And that's what your investable assets are. You don't want a lot of it the older we get, obviously, but you still want to have some. So we have an annuity here. We have the investable funds on the other side. How do you use the annuity in that scenario? Well, when the market rises and your investable funds and you're gaining money, you're also making money with your annuity. Not the same percentage, obviously, but you're still making money with the annuity. So if I need money, where am I going to pull from? I'm going to pull more than likely from the growing investable funds I have, the managed funds that we do with Portrayal Wealth for you or that you have with your 401k. But when it reverses and that market, the investable funds drops, market changes, the S&P is down 20, 25%, 5%, would you pull money out of that dropping fund? No. That's why I have a safety net, because the safety net will never lose a cent of its principal once I have it. Once I have a gain, it's my money. It won't go backwards. So that's why I have the safety net for an annuity. In that scenario, I'm going to pull money out of the annuity then. Because if I pull it out of a dropping fund, a dropping account, I'm double dipping my loss. So we have to use the annuity in that regards. And it's about a balanced attack. It's really about giving people options to be in the best place possible for their future. How are they going to line up to be lined up correctly and have those choices? I have a customer, Sue and Eric. They are fantastic people. We have annuities with them. We have managed funds for them. And they are taking the trip of a lifetime. They are going on a 12-day trip, 4 days into Italy, and then they're flying to Greece and doing a 9-day or 10-day cruise to the islands of Greece.
Dang, nice.
Beautiful trip. Guess what? They're taking their daughter, her husband, and their grandchildren, their son and his wife, and her sister are coming with her husband. 12 people. They called, where are we taking the money from, George?
I was say this ain't going to be cheap.
And we sat down with our customers. What we're going to do is take it from this account. You're doing well here. Let's take it from here to get that to pay for the bill. But that's what this is about, having those options to do a trip of a lifetime. I always tell people, your goal should be to build memories. For most of us, everyone has a different agenda, obviously, because we are not a cookie. We are all not the same shape, same size, same color, same flavor. Everything's a little bit different. I sit there and I look at retirement when I get to retire in 15, 20 years, if I ever retire. So I don't work now, so why would I retire? But when I get to that point, I'm trying to make sure the memories that Alex and Jared have of Leslie and I are priceless.
Right.
And some people say, well, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm going to live a very Spartan lifestyle in retirement and give my kids this money when I retire. And that might be the right answer for you. It's not the right answer for everybody. It's not the right answer for George and Leslie. I'm quite honest about that. Other people say, I'm going to spend my last nickel with my last breath. And that could be the right answer. Once again, that's not the answer George and Leslie go, but it's not about George and Leslie. It's about John and Sue. It's about Paul and whoever. It's about you. Or maybe you're someplace in between. And that's where Leslie and I fall. When we do our retirement plan, when we have our dreams, we know what we want to do. We have our agenda for life, so to speak. Part of that is if there's money left over, great. My boys, our grandchildren, our family will get to enjoy that money. Mm-hmm. But our job, our agenda is to have things that when mom and dad are gone, the boys can say, do you remember that trip we took? Oh my gosh, do you remember when Dad fell out of the canoe, which I did our last vacation? And they mocked me.
Drop that little nugget in right there, kind of quietly.
I tried not to I get mocked about still. It's killing me. Because what's that say? I am not what I used to be.
Right. I'm not as good as I once was.
That's it.
Thank you, Toby.
That's what we're here to do. And that's how we're going to use an annuity to help give you those advantages, and how we're going to use the annuity to build that foundation to give you everything you want. If nothing else, to give you the peace of mind that the safety is involved. And if everything goes to hell in a handbag in the world, which looking at the world lately, it's not a very good sight out there. Mm-hmm. Let's be realistic. Amen. If you're not concerned about things going on, not just in our own country, but in other parts of the world where our troops are at risk and our freedoms are at risk, you got to get your head out from the sand, I think. Mm-hmm. But we're looking at that, and this will give us, no matter what, the safety and the preservation of what we have to be able to do what we need for tomorrow. This is how we use annuities along with everything else to give you the best position possible to have the options to do what you want, when you want, and the most important thing, how you want to do it. Call me at 302-330-2166 or go to Portraya Wealth, P-A-T-R-I-A wealth.com, and let's schedule the no-cost, no-obligation meeting. You've worked really hard, folks, 20, 30, 40 years. You've saved your money. You have your assets that you need to make sure that they get to last as long as I get to live. Because you know what? You're going to be alive in retirement for 25, 30 years. Averages here, right? Average?
Yeah.
25 to 30 years. We didn't set this stuff up 45 years ago to be in retirement for a third of our lives. And the good news is you're living longer. Sometimes the bad news is you're living longer. Let's take what we have. Let's make sure you get from point A to point Z safely, peaceful of mind, and knowing that tomorrow's going to be safe for your future. That if you need to have extra services, we need extra money, where are we going to take it from? How's it going to fund it? And can we keep going on? When you come in and things don't look good, I'm quite honest with you, Mark. When customers come in, I don't sugarcoat the avenues or what's there. Our first meeting, when you come in, we're going to have a cup of coffee. We're going to gather data. The biggest thing is I want to know what your dreams are, your wants, your desires. What do you want to do? Because we say all the time, what you want's not necessarily what I want. That's why we're individuals. And the plan that I put together is an individual plan. It's not if you go to name some of these big companies, which are going to charge you $4,000 or $5,000 for the plans I put together for complimentary. They're going to say, you're 62 years old? Great. Here's your plan. Move to the next booth. Have a great day. You're not an assembly line here. You're an individual. You're treated as an individual. You're given the dignity and the respect you deserve because you've earned it. And then I'm going to lay out the plan after we come back. If there's a weakness or there's something that's concerning to me, I'm going to point it out to you. I'll have a recommendation. And guess what? You may say, George, thank you, but I don't want to do that. That's perfect. You're allowed that. I don't want you to say you weren't informed. No one ever told me about this. So you can't come back in 10 years and say, why didn't you tell me this was a problem? Well, I told you didn't want to react on it. You need the facts, good, bad, or indifferent. You're going to get the facts when you work with myself and my team at Portraya Wealth. Because we're adults. You deserve the truth. Call me at 302-330-2166. Let me show you how we can use annuities, use managed funds, when to take Social Security, how we're going to plan for taxes. But let's get the plan in place so you can see what tomorrow looks like. I always say, get it out of your head, because right now I see numbers in my head a lot of times. People say, I have a vision. Mm-hmm. If I ask them to put it down on paper, you can't put it down on paper because you can't. It's changing constantly. You need I would say a roadmap. This gives you a roadmap. This plan I put together, an income plan. We're going to go over the tax planning, being proactive. If you're not being proactive, folks, you're not looking to tomorrow, right? We know there's a problem. If your financial advisor is not talking about taxes with you, if he's not talking about inflation with you, if he or she's not talking about long-term care, medical costs, they're doing you a misjustice. You need to take off your blinders. Let's look ahead. Let's focus on the future, and let's see how we're going to be okay, or what position we're going to be in the future. But you need to go online to Patria, P-A-T-R-I-A wealth.com, or call us at 302-330-2166, and let's schedule that meeting to get you going, to get you focused, and to make sure you get to go where you want to.
Investment advisory services are offered only through properly registered representatives of Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, which is not affiliated with Betrayal Wealth Group. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if George Politarhos is licensed in your state, please contact his office. George A. Politarhos is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and/or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through George A. Politarhos, NPN number 175000473.